When organizing decimal numbers in order, you always want to look at the place value of each digit. To help me visualize where each number falls in the place value chart, I want to first add each number to the place value chart. So I have decimal 5. Can I add decimal 4.5 in my place value chart? I notice that 4 falls under my ones value. Then I add my decimal symbol. And I add my 5. Then I add my 67.1. Don't forget my decimal. Falls under between 7 and 1. Then my next number, which is decimal 556. Then my last number, decimal 789. And once I did that, I want to look at the greatest value for each digit. So I'm going to look at the first digit on the left. And I see that 6 is the first digit on my left, which is the greatest number. And I see that the 6 fell under my hundredths value. Can I add an arrow under the 6? And I notice that the 6 is the only number that falls under the hundredths value. So 67.1 is the greatest number compared to all the numbers that we have here. So I'm going to bring this 67.1 all the way to the bottom. The next digit I look at is the numbers that fell under the ones place value. And I noticed that the only number that fell under the ones value is 4. That means that of all the numbers that are left, 4 decimal 5 is the greatest, the biggest number compared to decimal 556, decimal 789. So I'm going to bring it just before 67 decimal 1. Now I have to look which is the biggest number between those two decimal numbers. Let me bring them up a little bit. So now I need to find out which number is bigger, decimal 556 or decimal 789. So I look at the first digit right after the decimal, because there is no number under the ones for these two numbers. So I look at the first digit on the right, and I can see that five is the first number on the left. Then I look at the next number, the other number, and I look at the digit for the other number, and I can see that it's 7. It's 7. Now I need to decide which number is bigger, 5 or 7. So I already know that 7 is bigger, so it has a greater value. So that means that 7, decimal 789 is bigger than decimal 555. Why? Because for number decimal 555, the 5 falls under the 10th value. Then the other number, the first digit for decimal 789, is the 7 falls under the 10th value, and 7 has a greater or bigger value compared to 5. So that means that decimal 789 is bigger than decimal 555. So I'm going to bring decimal 789 right before decimal 4, right before 4 decimal 5. And then I bring 5 right before 7 decimal 789. And now I can organize them or align the numbers by place value from least to greatest. Let me just bring them up. And I can double check if each number in the place value chart goes from least to greatest. So let's see. Decimal 556, it's definitely has a less value compared to decimal 789. Then the next number for decimal 5, it has less value than number 67 decimal 1.